Welcome to Private Club Radio, the industry's first and only program dedicated to education, news, events, trends and announcements. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Happy day after Easter brunch to you. Hopefully you got through it relatively unscathed. I know it's probably one of the biggest events your club puts on, the big show, right? I'm hoping it worked out well for you. And if it didn't, hopefully this week's episode will take your mind off of it. I skipped it at my clubs this year, just to be honest with you. I did a little Easter egg hunt for my kids and my niece and nephew in my backyard. They're all small, all under 3 years old, and they wouldn't stand a chance at the club's Easter egg hunt. Those kids are vicious. You know the kids I'm talking about. Yeah, I bet your club has a few too. They're elbowing, pushing, kicking. They scoop up every egg in sight and stick their tongue out to the slower ones to really rub it in their face. I'm just kidding. They're all little angels. Anyways, I have another standout guest for you this week, Jason Becker of Golf Life Navigators. What Jason and his team have created is a matchmaking service that pairs home buyers with golf clubs and golf properties. It's a wonderfully simple concept, but you've got to have the right people involved, and Jason definitely does. So Jason and his team are directly in touch with folks looking to move to or become members at golf clubs. They intimately know what the hot button issues are for consumers. The information they're gathering is incredibly valuable. You'd want that information, right? You'd want to know how to make your club better and what will make it more attractive to buyers, right? I'm going to squeeze a few bits out of their brain trust for you today. A couple of announcements for you before we bring on Jason. The Florida chapter of the CMAA is hosting a summer conference series event at the Ocean Reef Club, June 19th through the 22nd. They've got a great lineup of sessions covering topics like strategic planning, board dynamics, and the 12 secrets to club management success. For more details on that, check out flcmaa.org. And coming up at the end of this month, on March 31st at 2 p.m., the National Club Association is conducting a very important webinar on the Department of Labor's imminent overtime rule. Learn how your club can prepare for serious challenges the rule may present, including higher labor costs, the need for major staffing changes, a possible increase in liability, and other concerns. To register, visit nationalclub.org.
Are you searching for members? Are you looking to drive revenue to every department of your club? With Course Driver, you can. Course Driver is a custom smartphone application designed specifically for your club. With an app from Course Driver, members and guests will have accurate GPS, tee time booking, satellite weather, scoring, handicap tracking, and even the ability to order food and drinks right from their phone. But the real power of Course Driver is its messaging system. With Course Driver, you can send announcements to members and reach back out to guests with special offers. Visit CourseDriver.com to schedule your demo today.
This episode of Private Club Radio Show is brought to you by Wild Style Media, an award-winning media firm and a leader in high-end audio and video production. Wild Style Media offers full-service media production, post-production, and creative solutions for your company or brand. Contact us today at wildstylemedia.net or call 813-358-6588 today.
So I'm delighted to welcome to the show Jason Becker. He's a former engineering student who evolved into a South Florida PGA golf professional. Jason's a gifted strategist, service provider, networker, and entrepreneur. Golf Life Navigators founder and his team have worked with many of the finest clubs and real estate communities in South Florida. Recognized as a 2014 40 Under 40 mover and shaker by the Business Observer magazine, he enjoys working with local charitable foundations and mentoring young professionals at Florida Gulf Coast University. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gabe. We're glad to be here.
Great to have you on. So tell me first just a little bit about Golf Life Navigators and what you guys are doing.
Sure. We're a group of PGA professionals and real estate professionals around the state of Florida, mainly in the South region, that are helping consumers, in particular baby boomers, make one of the biggest buying decisions of their lives. As you know, 10,000 people turn 65 years old every day for the next 8 years, and a lot of those folks are coming to Florida, coming to the sunshine to get out of the winter months. And what we essentially do is help them filter nearly 1,200 golf communities and hundreds of different real estate properties down to 3 or 4 that meet all of their needs, criteria, and budgetary expectations before they get here. So essentially, they can expedite the entire system and have a support system of PGA members here on the ground when they arrive. So they know that when they're coming to Florida to look at these communities, they're going to get a trusted individual that's going to help them make a good decision, and a smart one as they prepare for the next 20, 25 years of their life.
You're literally a matchmaking service putting together these affluent golfers with the private clubs in these residential communities, right?
Yeah, it's the interview and the consultation system gets pretty granular. We talk a lot about their golf expectations when they're coming to Florida. If their spouse doesn't play, what do they enjoy with their hobbies and social aspects? Where do they want to live? A number of different things. And for us, with local knowledge, we're able to filter through the options based upon price point. So that way they don't have to waste time visiting clubs that might not be the right fit for them. And also not ever have to worry about getting led in the wrong direction. With us, we're on top of the game down here, industry experts, and can help folks make a good, solid decision.
Yeah, you said industry experts. A lot of your team is actually former PGA professionals. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. When a client comes through us, when we start the consultation period, our PGA staff will ask all the golf questions and the club community questions. But when we get into the real estate side of the equation, that's its own separate consultation. And so when our real estate agents can have a golf acumen and speak the language, it certainly helps us make the filtration process that much easier. So between us, the golf side might think that 3 or 4 golf communities are a really good fit. But if we dig into it deep enough into the real estate side, we might not find any real estate in those communities that meets their needs. So therefore, we want to remove that community and take a different direction. So that coercive effort between both Golf Life Navigators and properties is imperative. And if they have a golf background or a golf resume, it just makes it so much easier.
What are the trends these 65-year-olds are looking for? Is there a particular type of house or a particular type of property that you're seeing people want more so than others?
Yeah, we've been studying the stats a lot the first of the year. A couple of things have jumped out to us. Number one, a lot of consumers are looking at single-family homes. We thought that maybe condos or villas might be top of the market, but it hasn't been. And I think a lot of that is because people are really considering domiciling here with the tax implications of living in Florida. So that was pretty striking us from the home side. From the club side, we're seeing a big draw for health and fitness. We want to see state-of-the-art fitness centers before we buy membership at a club. Does the club have heart-healthy menus, calories on the menu, the smoothie bars, those types of things? That seems to be a very big draw for our clients who are coming down here. They're very, very health conscious. So for us, it's not hard at all. We know the clubs. We know the ones that have had renovations in the last 5-6 years and put new fitness centers in. So we can get the consumer in those directions. So ultimately that they can find exactly what they're looking for the first time down.
Yeah, I imagine you have kind of a wealth of knowledge to share with these clubs about their consumer or their potential consumer.
Yeah, the clubs on the other end of the spectrum have really enjoyed working with our group just because of that. We have a lot of information that we can share, market trends. For instance, last year we saw a giant need for the consumer looking for like a sports or a social membership, understanding that they can only play golf a limited amount of times in the season, but they're fine with that because they're not ready to move here full time or be a full time snowbird. So they're looking mainly for a place to hang their hat and play just golf a couple times during the winter months. But all in all, what that's done for the membership directors and the club officials is really focus on that sports/social program and strengthen it just based on demand. We thought that our target audience if you will, was going to be 65 years old. And it certainly hasn't been. It's actually been closer to 55. And so what that told the industry was that the 55-year-old was nearing retirement 3 to 4 years out. So let's create some programming at the clubs that will facilitate that tenure between coming in now and actually coming in full time into the Florida during the winter.
Wow, interesting. So what are some of the other advantages for private clubs that are using your service?
Really, I would say the main advantage is getting the right member. And I go back to my time as a golf professional at the club here in Naples, and I would have members that were there that didn't seem to be happy. And I always wondered, why did you invest here? Why did you choose this particular club? And from the club official side, your listeners, I'm sure, will understand, it can be troublesome to have a member there that doesn't want to be there with a negative energy.
Sure.
And so for the private clubs, they're getting a vetted private club member from up north who has gone through our system and is the right fit or the right pedigree for the property. So they're not getting someone that's going to be there 4 or 5 years and unhappy and leave, but rather someone that's going to be there 15 to 20 years of dues-paying longevity. And as we all know in the industry, that the dues-paying members is the lifeblood of the club. And so essentially that's the private clubs, that's the most exciting part for them, is the people that we're delivering to them are meant for that property, and they're not going to have to ever have the conversation about resignation lists or what's my exit strategy.
Right. So what's the cost to a club, or for that matter, to the individual who's using your service to actually get placed at a club or a residence?
Sure. The individual actually pays $0. The consumer is going to entail a number of fees and costs for when they're time for relocating to Florida. We didn't want to add another one to that. And so what we had to do is subsidize our revenue stream to support what we're doing in our marketing and advertising efforts and staffing in way of advertising. And so we've created some different revenue streams with advertising with your local pool repair service or your AC industries and whatnot, things that you would need from an amenity-wise when you're a consumer moving down here. From the clubs, that's another piece to that revenue stream. We have an annual fee that we charge clubs. It ranges from $3,500 to $5,000. It's a one-time fee for the year, and they basically have the ability to work alongside us. I don't like the word advertising in the campaign because it's more of a collaborative effort. Our staff works very, very closely with the membership director and general manager. So a way of providing very detailed bios of our clients before they arrive, but more importantly for the general manager side is providing very detailed feedback of why the member didn't join, or I should say the prospective didn't join. And for a lot of cases, that could be more valuable than getting a new member itself. If you want to know, what did we do wrong? How can we improve? What's going on here?
Absolutely.
And so after a while, you can put all that quantitative data together as a general manager and be able to make a decision. I'll give you an example of there was a club in Southwest Florida last year that had 3 different clients come out, and all 3 declined to join. And the common theme between the 3 clients that were at the property was that the locker rooms had smelled moldy. And so the general manager had tried numerous times to get a renovation pass for the locker rooms because he knew it, but never could really get it done with the board. Well, now he had 3 different forms of feedback from real people that were there that didn't join because of it, and that was enough to get a renovation pass, and he was on his way. So that end of it in its own is very invaluable. And with the clients that we have, when they visit a property and play the club and meet the staff, at the end of the day, they have a debriefing session with our staff. And because we're neutral, the client is very, very honest and open. So we give very unfiltered feedback, where a lot of times when a perspective comes to a club, they might feel a little awkward about, or not totally truthful about why they're not joining, just so they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Or quite frankly, they leave and you never hear from them again, which is the worst case scenario. So that collaborative effort between the club and us is really what makes the affiliation program so successful. And then again, sharing the market trends and data and piggybacking on us when we're up north during the summer months, having our forums and teaching the consumers about Florida.
That is incredibly valuable. You could pay a consulting firm probably 10 times what you're charging to get some of the info you're giving them, it sounds like. You guys have literally exploded in a very short time. To what do you owe your success?
And when the program started, in my research and development, there had never been a platform or a program out there for consumers to do this, to help filter these clubs. There's online filtration systems like an auto trader where you can put in information and get filtered down. However, the clubs and results that you get oftentimes are those that have paid to be on that filtration system. So this was the first time a personalized service had ever been offered. And what had happened was, we always knew it, once the word had spread to the consumer base that there was a group of PGA professionals out there that could listen to you and help you get on the right track and make this big buying decision, it would take off. And in November, Golf Magazine had done an article on us. It's a simple one-pager, but that was enough to send a message out to private club members around the country that the service existed. And quite frankly, that's what put us through the roof. Within weeks, we had 550 phone calls, new clients coming in looking for help, all going to be in South Florida this winter. Started consulting all those folks, and each consultation takes half an hour to 40 minutes, so it takes a while to get through. But what occurred was other markets opened up very quickly. We know that out of our last 100 onboarding clients, 28 of them wanted to be in the Sarasota market, 24 of them in the Orlando market. So it really forced us to grow quickly out of Naples and Palm Beach County up to the northern part of the state and the central part to just basically handle the volume. So there wasn't a mountain tall enough that I could get up and display this message of this group that's out there that can help people. But we're slowly getting to that point. I think that we're starting to become branded and people know who we are. And it certainly helps with all the wonderful things that the press is writing about it.
Absolutely. Now, are your plans to spread your wings outside of the state of Florida? Are there other pockets of the country you're looking to sort of bring this concept to?
Yeah, based on demand and volume, Scottsdale, Phoenix is next on our radar. I just got back from there last week, and we have our team in place and are able to help. Right now, we're working with 7 clients that are moving from the Minnesota, St. Louis, Chicago areas to Scottsdale. And it's easy. Our systems are all in place. It's a turnkey type model where anytime there's a golf saturation in a market, this is where this is needed and works. And so all is a matter to get it going. It's just having the staffing there. So you need local PGA representation that has local knowledge. You need a real estate arm to handle the real estate inquiries. And once you have those two pieces in place, it really can happen overnight, which Scottsdale, quite frankly, did. It literally happened overnight. So, but outside of that, we have had contact with some folks in Palm Springs, California, and in Texas as well. But right now, we're focused on Florida, and Scottsdale is certainly right around the corner. But those seem to be the two most popular markets for domestic consumers.
I'm going to tap your brain a little bit for the sake of private clubs. Where are you seeing that these folks are moving from? Is there particular parts of the country or particular areas of the country that you're seeing a lot of your requests come in from?
Gabe, it's really all over the place. So we've had people call us from California to Maine, and I just in our data, we see a big influx of people out of Ohio into the into the Florida market. Michigan's a close second, with Canada right around the corner. But it's really, because we're so early in our infancy stages, it's hard to track that because we had done some targeted relationships with the PGA sections in the Ohio area and Michigan area in New England. And so we saw results from that by working with those PGA members in those areas who have private club members who are moving to Florida. And essentially we set up, these pipelines from trusted advisor to trusted advisor. So that being said, that's what our data shows. However, I might have something totally different for you next year when we have programs in all the states in the north.
Sure.
But for us, it was Ohio, Michigan, and then Massachusetts seem to be the hottest feeder markets, if you will.
So can you sort of walk me through the process a little bit? If I'm a potential buyer, I want to come down to Florida. I know you guys are located right there at the airport. I'm sure that sort of plays into your strategy. Can you sort of walk me through how you onboard clients and how you actually connect them with these clubs?
Sure. Yeah, most folks end up through our website. They fill out what's called a Get Started form, which is just some basic information that allows us to understand what part of the state or Arizona or Florida that they're looking into. And what happens is it goes to our relationship manager, who then reaches out to the appropriate PGA professional based upon where that person wants to go. So let's just say you're coming down here from Minnesota and you're interested in Palm Beach County in the Jupiter area. Well, we would have our PGA consultant interview you, go through a number of questions talking about your playing habits and your hobbies and whatnot. What does your wife like to do? Where you want to live? And then basically, once we have that information, meet with our real estate folks. If the chances are that you want to parlay both of those searches, narrow it down to 3 or 4 communities, and then call you back and say, "Gabe, we have our communities labeled and ready to go. When can you come down?" So give us a week that you can come down here, and then we'll set you up. We'll get you introduced to the right clubs, the membership directors. And so essentially for you book your trip, come down, and you're going to play these properties. You're going to look at the real estate before or after the round and meet with the membership director, do the whole tour, and then filter it from there. Now, what did you like? What didn't you like? And then maybe we take a little bit of a different direction. But chances are, out of those 3 clubs or 4 clubs, you're going to find the one that is meant for you. And it really expedites it that quickly. And not only that, you have a support system when you're here to ask questions to. And we're going to teach you what questions to ask the club officials when you're in front of them. When's the last time you've had an assessment? What's my playing ability like in middle of March? If I want to play 5 days a week, is that possible? How does the resignation list function if this is an equity play? And so all those things that you might not think to ask, we're going to teach you to ask, so you can basically get all of your ducks in a row. And therefore, when you're ready, that check that you're going to write to the club is going to be a very, very confident one, and there will be no doubt that you made the right decision.
That's important with real estate. You don't want any buyer's remorse. It's such a big purchase decision.
No, you're exactly right. And that's another end of it. We just talked about the golf side, but from the real estate side, our real estate folks will really go into detail of making sure that purchase is just as, it's just as important, if not more important, to ask the right questions and then make sure that, this is indeed the property that you want to spend the next X number of years in.
So that sounds like a great kind of concierge approach you've got. Now, my one question to you about that is, they're playing with these PGA professionals. Do you guys ever let them win?
Well, I always tell the guys, take it easy. But
yeah,
you have some players that or members that they'll come down here and they're pretty good. Our clientele, our golf enthusiasts, our average male client is a 14 handicap. Our average female is a 20.8 handicap. So
wow.
These people play golf 4 to 5 days a week. And so, yeah, we definitely try to keep it light on the golf course, that's for sure. And quite frankly, our guys are working so much now that the clients are probably going to beat them on the course anyway.
Sure. You're getting fatigued probably playing all these rounds.
Exactly.
So just one more time, I kind of want to reiterate, if there's like 2 or 3 must-haves that if you're a private club here in Florida or Arizona or Palm Springs that could really start to attract some of these 55-year-olds and folks that are retiring down here, what would be your kind of top 2 or 3 things that a club should think of installing or putting in their club to sort of attract these people?
You know what? Every club has their own selling proposition, whether they're 20 minutes from the airport or a 30-minute drive from the ocean, and so those are the important things to be able to display to these prospects that are coming down. The 3 selling propositions of the club. We try to relay that information as much as possible to our clients on behalf of our affiliate clubs. If I was a membership director or a club official, the one thing that I would certainly display is not what my average member is to date, but what's my average member the last 24 months of onboarding, because that seems to be a big deal. The 57-year-old doesn't want to know that your average member is 72. But if we worded it where, your last average member of the last 24 months is 63, it's being truthful. And it's also giving them an idea, okay, this isn't an older club. I'm going to fit in here. So I think a lot of it's just the way the message is displayed. I see a lot of fantastic membership directors out there that do that, and that's how I kind of learned from. But that's certainly number one. I think number 2 is the health and fitness piece of it and the social aspects. Our clients have all expressed the same yearning to walk into a social setting of like-minded people, and so that's why we ask our clients, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your spare time? Because if we can pair those clients up to a member that you might have at the facility that also enjoys arts and crafts, or is a wine club member, then that just makes that welcoming so much better. So oftentimes what we'll do with our affiliate clubs is tell us what clubs you have within the club. And the more that we can understand that world, the much better the matchmaking occurs from our end. So I don't know if it's necessarily anything more that a club could do or that they could spend money on, as much as it is of understanding the dynamics of the people that you have there and what you have to offer.
It's great advice. I mean, we're in the people business in the private club industry. That's what it's all about. If you can get people engaged immediately, you stand a much better chance of member retention, I think.
Well, look at the stats on rentals. People that rent the first year have a 67% likeliness of purchasing a membership at that club the following year. And why? It's because of the friends that they've made in the social setting. So I think that's so important. Just having people on property and getting them matched up with the right other people it just makes it better all the way around from the club and the consumer.
Awesome advice, Jason. So one other piece of advice I want to pick your brain about. This is a question I ask all my guests. If I am making a bucket list of clubs to visit before I die, what would be number 1 on your list, Jason?
So it's got to be Augusta National, and I say this, and I've never, as a PGA member, I've never been there. I've always said I was going to go to the Masters, but as the PGA members and the club officials know, in Florida, early April is a very busy time of year, and it's tough to get away. But that's definitely a place I want to go. I would love to see it, love to play it, quite frankly. But it's certainly on my list, and I've gotten fortunate enough to play some of the great places across the north, from Whistling Straits to Medina, Scioto. But the Masters is something special. I don't know if it's that high definition on the TV, but it's definitely on the top of my list. That's for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Henry Wallmeyer, he's the president and CEO of the National Club Association. In episode 8 of our show, he actually said and promised on air that he would take me there if he ever gets invited.
Nice.
I'm holding him to it.
Exactly. Well, quick story for you. I have one of my business partners here asked me a couple weeks ago, hey, would you mind, can I go with you to the Masters? Because I get in free as a PGA member, but I said, yeah, sure. And that I should never have said that because I didn't realize how hard it is just to get one ticket. Right. And it wasn't. I ran as far as up the flagpole as I could go, and it's not easy. And they really look down at scalping tickets there, from what I understand. So I'm not going to go down that road. But yeah, it's certainly a hot ticket to get, that's for sure.
You'll get there, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So how do folks find out about you and about Golf Life Navigators?
Probably the easiest way is to visit our website, golflifenavigators.com. You'll see an array of different testimonials and industry news for our club officials. We try to have a lot of statistics on there and what's going on in the market that we're seeing from the other end of the spectrum. And for the consumer side, they fill out that Get Started program, that form, and they're off and running. We're working with them. But if it's a club in particular that wants to know more about how we work together with the clubs, probably the best way is to call me personally. And my number is 239-292-9929, or shoot me an email at jason@golflifenavigators.com. And what we'll do is we'll sit down and go into detail of how the program works and the different things that we do. We created a very progressive program in the industry, which was so traditional for so many years. And all we really did was we took instead of a shotgun approach to finding the right member, a very, very rifle approach. And it's working. And as you can see, we're expanding and just trying to hold on by the seat of our pants.
I love it because it's an impersonal world and you're adding that personal touch. I think that's great. And that's probably why you've been so successful.
It has been. Our average client is 55, 56 years old. And so these folks have made their careers in the 1990s. And then you had meetings, you sat around the table and you talked. You picked up your phone to call your stockbroker to make a trade. You didn't do it online. And I think that the consumer appreciates what we've gone back to, that world where it is one-on-one communication. We all are from America, when you call it, and so we walk through that process with you at a very, very personal level. And quite frankly, you and I think touched on this before, the service industry bar has just gotten so low over the last number of years that you could roll over it, and we just tried to lift it up just a little bit for these folks that are coming here, and I think they really appreciate it. Not to mention the time. They're all successful people, and using their time wisely was why they became successful. So this program just fits all of those different needs, and it's the reason why it's working.
You're absolutely right, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys take off. The sky's the limit for sure. Thanks so much, Jason, for being on the show. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jason was great, wasn't he? Well, I've got a very special guest for you next week. Jeff Morgan, CEO of the Club Managers Association of America, will join us to discuss the association's strategic plan and much more. You won't want to miss it, so join us here next week. And I want to remind you that if you're hearing the show for the first time, you can subscribe to the show on your mobile phone and get episodes downloaded straight to your mobile phone each and every Monday. You can do that on iPhone, on the podcast app, and you can do it on the Stitcher app if you're using an Android. If you need any extra assistance, just visit privateclubradio.com and check out our step-by-step guide that we have right there on the website. Until next time, here's to your membership success.
Just because this round is over doesn't mean you can't enjoy the 19th hole. Check out privateclubradio.com for more. Private Club Radio is brought to you by Shake Creative, the premier marketing and design firm, helping prestigious clubs increase and retain their membership. Visit shaketampa.com to learn more.